Hi there, and welcome to Enterprise AI Innovators, a show where top technology executives share how AI is transforming the enterprise. In each episode, guests uncover the real-world applications of AI, from improving products and optimizing operations to redefining the customer experience. I'm Evan Reiser, the founder and CEO of Abnormal AI.
And I'm Saam Motamedi, a general partner at Greylock Partners.
Today on the show, we're bringing you a conversation with Jaime Montemayor, Chief Digital and Technology Officer at General Mills. General Mills products can be found in households across the world. They operate at a global scale with over 30,000 employees and $20 billion of annual revenue. There are three things that really stood out to me in my conversation with Jaime. First, General Mills made an early bet on their cloud and data infrastructure. That foundation now supports thousands of machine learning models across the business, helping teams better understand consumer needs, predict demand, and improve manufacturing efficiency. Second, they launched an internal generative AI tool called Mills Chat. It's now used for company-wide performance reviews and development planning, and they're moving towards agent-based systems that can help employees redesign entire workflows. And finally, Jaime shared several AI use cases delivering measurable impact, from cutting waste in the supply chain to generating personalized marketing content and speeding up how new products reach store shelves. Well, Jaime, first of all, thank you so much for making time to chat with us today. I know Saam and I were really looking forward to this episode. Maybe to start, do you mind giving our audience a bit overview of kind of your career and maybe share a little bit about what your role is today at General Mills?
I originally started my career at Oracle. I did a lot of work, as a very technical leader, helping big organizations leverage the latest and greatest technology that Oracle was creating to transform their businesses. Then I moved into consulting, and I always talk about my time at Booz Allen Hamilton as the MBA that I never had. And so at Booz Allen, I learned how to do strategy and how to use technology to drive the business. And it was one of those big engagements that got me into the food industry, because I developed the IT strategy for a major CPG company, and I was invited to implement the strategy, and so that's how I got going. So I have spent the majority of my professional career working with business leadership teams, helping them frame up the actions they need to take to drive their business, and then turning around and leading tech teams to enable those specific opportunities that the business has. And so I've had the chance to be a CIO in a small business unit, a region, an international operation, a global operation. And so those different experiences have given me now the opportunity to come to a company like General Mills to help them take IT from being just a necessary capability to run the business to a capability that can actually help drive the business forward.
Maybe just to start high level, give us a snapshot of sort of the business and what falls under your work and scope as the Chief Digital and Technology Officer.
This organization is, we take pride in making food that the world will love. And so our organization focuses on understanding consumer needs, making sure that we innovate with products that can solve those needs of our consumers. We also communicate these needs effectively through best-in-class marketing capabilities. And then behind that, we have an amazing supply chain team that makes sure that we create those products with the highest possible quality, with the right sanitary conditions, and that we can take these products, to our multiple channels that we use to distribute the products globally. And so that's in a nutshell what General Mills is all about. We take pride in the food that we manufacture. Our consumers love what we do, and we also take pride in the partnership that we have with our retailers and distributors globally.
When I think about, me as a, probably like elementary school, first seeing, General Mills on a box of cereal, right? I probably wouldn't have thought, I wouldn't have realized probably as a young kid, what a big role technology plays. You might kind of share a little bit about kind of like the digital journey that you've been on with General Mills and kind of like, maybe go a little bit deeper, explain kind of, how technology kind of impacts and transforms the business today.
what may not be obvious to everybody is that we also have highly sophisticated systems that can help the business operate in a more efficient and effective way globally. For instance, we have quite advanced supply chain planning systems that are fully integrated. With these systems, we are able to better understand demand. We're able to better serve that demand, and we're better able to plan for the manufacturing and execution of our manufacturing operations globally. And so that's may not be too obvious to everybody in terms of how much it takes, for us to be able to run the business like that. Now, what may not be obvious is that we're also we have a quite sophisticated data foundation to enable that. And so if you step back and look at General Mills, we use data for so many aspects of our business. Data to better understand consumer needs, data to better gauge the demand coming from our consumers, data to innovate on our product platforms, data to serve the demand that is shaping in the marketplace, and data to improve the manufacturing of our products. So data is a big component of our tech foundation, and that's why at this stage of the game, we're able to use AI on top of that data. Our data is very clean, very well governed, and at this stage of the game, we're now able to build on that data foundation, expanding AI capabilities, particularly across the whole supply chain of the company.
What are some of the kind of top use cases you have with AI? Like, where have you seen early wins? Love to hear more about how you're applying these technologies at General Mills.
Yeah. So our AI journey started about 5-6 years ago, when, as I said, we realized that we had this very clean and well-governed data foundation in the company. So we made a decision to move all of that to the cloud. And, we are 100% cloud run right now in the corporation.
Oh, wow.
And so we decided to move everything to the cloud. And that was a very good call, because when we made that call, we created a foundation that we've been able to build on top of that. And so the first, use case in terms of how we use that data foundation was to enable our commercial capabilities, in particular strategic revenue management. We knew that we had an opportunity to improve the way we made promotions, the way we did pricing, the way we executed on our price pack architecture. We knew we had distribution of our products in the retail landscape. And so in order for us to go after those opportunities, we created agile teams that built AI machine learning based solutions that helped our business teams with specific recommendations on these opportunities. So once we learned how to build those systems at scale, then we moved to our supply chain. And then in supply chain, we started with simple things like business performance management. We built a business performance management solution. Then we expanded into logistics. We had significant opportunities in logistics. So as of today, we have thousands of those machine learning models running day in and day out in the company. And with those models, our teams have the benefit of being able to do being able to leverage predictive analytics to solve to run their business on a day-to-day basis without having to do their own specific analysis themselves.
What are some of the other sort of interesting ways you all are using AI at General Mills today? And are there any examples that our listeners might find surprising?
Literally weeks after ChatGPT became a thing, we were able to create our own generative AI foundation, which we call Mills Chat. And so this is behind our firewall capability. And so with that, like any other company, when you deploy a solution like that, you got to take your steps towards expansion of the capability. So we started first by learning how to use this for what I would call individual productivity, that some different groups wanted to go after in the organization. So we did that. We piloted it with multiple groups, and then after that, we decided to deploy that to the whole company. And after that deployment that we did for the 30,000 employees that we have in the company, we have seen week after week expansion in terms of the adoption of the tool. Right now we measure every week how many people actually use this foundation, and up to 30% of our workforce is using this new technology consistently. We have some functions like HR, for instance, that are actually going, the use rate goes all the way to 65, 75% of the workforce uses that consistently. Some of the most basic use cases that people are working on are things like, for instance, in the case of HR, simple things like doing performance assessments, or helping people develop specific development plans. Those kinds of things, simple things that you can use to be more effective, more productive, more efficient. But as we gain learnings from these opportunities, we're now focused on the next frontier, which for us is reinventing business workflows through agentic architectures. As our people become more comfortable taking on recommendations from these advanced systems that we're building, and they are becoming more comfortable using Gen AI capabilities to run their business on a daily basis, they're now giving us permission to go and implement new agents that can help them be either more efficient, more effective, or can help them eliminate tasks, from their daily lives. And so as you can see here, we're progressing from, first, building, solutions that are, focused on specific functional areas, to now expanding in the use of the capability, and now looking into reinventing workflows, leveraging both traditional machine learning capabilities as well as now generative AI solutions.
Are there other areas where you'd say like, hey, here's 3 kind of use cases that really get up and running in a couple of weeks that like we got maybe more value than expected given the kind of, ease of kind of getting something going? Oh yeah, what will be your quick win list, right? For maybe a CIO feeling like they need to, up their AI game a little bit after listening to this episode.
Yes, exactly. So, well, first, the one area where we have had a significant win is in waste management. So an organization like ours, with so many manufacturing lines on a global basis, you can imagine we are squarely focused on waste control. So that's one area where we have quickly put in a solution in place, and we are getting significant savings by building a new solution that not only addresses the specific opportunities that we have line by line, but that helps the business orchestrate actions across the supply chain to minimize waste. So waste management has been one area of opportunity. Another area that we're going after right now is content generation in our marketing function. So we're also partnering with a third-party supplier that is helping us accelerate the use of Gen AI capabilities to generate content dynamically. We have had historically a good ability to understand our consumers and understand their needs, and to develop marketing communications to connect with them. But what we need now is to tailor this content to the specific needs of that specific consumer. And we need to be able to deliver this content in a dynamic way, primarily using social media channels. And so to enable that, we truly need to leverage generative AI capabilities. So that's one other area where we're getting significant savings. And then the next one where we are still not getting the full benefit, but we are actively working on, is accelerating product innovation. If you look at the time it takes for us to innovate, to create a new product, to improve one product, the number of people that get involved in the whole company, the number of human touches required to go from an idea to a product on the shelf. We believe there is a significant opportunity for us to simplify the whole process, be a lot more focused, and reduce the time to market. And so this is another use case where we feel very passionate about, and we're actively working on that.
Not super recently, but several months ago, spoke with this guy Nuj Dhand, who's the CEO of Albertsons, and he talked about in a very similar story about how they were using AI and machine learning to optimize kind of supply chain, to also kind of remove waste, right? Okay, good for the enterprise, but also really good for consumers as well. Can you share a little bit more about how you think about using AI and machine learning to kind of optimize supply chain, and any kind of anecdotes there, or kind of I'd love to hear how you think about that, just because I think we're globally we're all in the business of waste management.
The first job is to ensure that you have those digital signals. Without those digital signals, it's hard for you to understand the potential and the opportunity. So for instance, at the factory level, it's about improving the sensors that we have at the line level and at the factory level. So we are on a multi-year journey to try and revamp our tech foundation at the factory level, to ensure that we have the wealth of sensor data required to improve waste in that area. And in logistics, we are focused on automating workflows and digitizing our operations in every warehouse and in every truck. And the more information that we have, the higher the opportunity for us to mine that information through machine learning models, and to better help our business run the business in a more effective way. So those are examples.
You guys are doing something over like 5,000 daily shipments, right, from plants or warehouses, right? That's like a serious scale, right? It's not just like a couple trucks, right? Can you share more about that? And have you seen kind of big wins there? Right? I have to imagine supply chain historically always been a computer science problem. It seems ripe for optimization.
You can imagine, how hard it is on a daily basis to make the right set of decisions, in terms of, which product should go in which truck in which route on a daily basis, And so we have automated all of that complexity and through the machine learning models that we have built and the complex or advanced orchestration layer that we have built on top of that, our operators can, quickly make these decisions in the most informed fashion. And what these solutions have given us is immediate productivity, immediate efficiency in how we run the supply chain, and they have also enabled us to build a foundation that we can now build upon on top of that. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of the next generation of change that we want to drive in the organization, is by not just looking at the individual opportunity that we have in a specific job or a specific location or a specific function, but to cut across the organization and look at all the whole workflow. And this is where generative AI will help us now simplify and streamline that work, hopefully taking away work that is not required.
Evan and I like to think about how quickly the world's going to change over the next 1 to 5 years. And so I want to ask you about that, Jaime, in the context of General Mills and in the context of sort of the food landscape as well. What are use cases that maybe aren't live today, but when you dream out 2, 3, 5 years, you see AI having an impact on both at General Mills and then also more broadly in sort of the food economy and food landscape?
Yeah, well, I think it's something that is happening very quickly is that our consumers are increasingly using more more tools, to inform their daily actions and decisions, And so AI is inevitably making its way into the consumer via the technology that we use on a daily basis. And I think that will have an impact in terms of how people, make decisions with regards to, activity, food consumption, and such. And so I think we as a company need to be very close to that. We need to better understand how we can take those digital signals to inform our understanding of the consumer needs, understanding of those demand moments where demand of our products will be required. We should use those digital signals to better inform our innovation strategy. What products we need to produce, in what form, in what shape, to serve those needs. And ultimately, it should also inform how we serve those needs, And so that's the first impact. And the second impact is ourselves. We as a company, have to use these new technologies to be able to do a better job of serving the needs of our stakeholders and the needs of our employees. And I think historically, if you see General Mills, we've been in business for 160 years. We've done a very good job of serving those needs over time. And I think it's our obligation to try to take this new technology that is now changing the world in many different ways and bring it to bear. And how do you bring it to life in a company like ours? Well, by what I said, changing the way you run the business, by changing the way we make decisions. One thing that is often overlooked in our industry is speed to market. Speed to market is extremely important. So if we can connect, consumer need with a specific solution in a shorter period of time, well, that gives us the ability to lead in the market. If we can communicate with a consumer at the right moment, the right feature or functional solution for their needs, then we have a higher probability of succeeding as a business.
You guys are moving so quickly and innovating, right? And outpacing some of your peers that don't have any of those, maybe headwinds is unfair, but maybe those kind of challenges. Can you talk a little bit about how is that possible?
I would like to think of General Mills as an always on organization, because we serve consumers. We are always seeking for understanding in terms of what those consumer needs are. I think, in our leadership team, we always start by talking about where consumers are and what they need from us and how we're serving those needs. If you do that on top of those strong values, then you have a chance to succeed. The other thing that we do, and I think is also a super strength of our organization, is that we have strategic clarity. We have an accelerate, we call our strategy accelerate. And in that strategy, we have clarity as to which consumers we're serving, which product platforms we're focusing on, which markets, we are serving, which partnerships are critical for us, and which capabilities enable that. And one of those capabilities is digital and technology. And that's why for me, my job, even though it looks very complicated because there are so many different aspects that need to be managed on a daily basis, it's actually very, very straightforward, because with that strategic clarity, then you can quickly step back and organize yourself and ensure that first you have those core systems to enable the run of the business. We need those core systems that we have in the organization need to be there to enable the business to run and compete on a daily basis. And then I can then focus the rest of my energy, hopefully more energy, into the capabilities that will actually help the business win in the marketplace. And that's where data, analytics, AI, this is where these new capabilities come to play. And so that's how we manage this complexity, And again, I just want to close by saying that none of this is possible if you don't have a strong foundation. In our case, that foundation is tech and data, it's talent, and it's also ways of working, which include the cultural side of it.
How are you most leveraging AI and changing the way you do your own work with AI, and also if you have any tips for listeners and for Evan and I, always curious.
Well, first, I'm a very curious individual, so I'm always in learning mode. Okay. And so I am the first one upgrading my operating systems. I am the first one trying the latest tool. And so I do that on consistently. And so I keep myself up to date in that regard. I use Gen AI every day now. I no longer do the traditional search. I use multiple tools. I actually use multiple tools so that I can keep myself up to date in terms of, the depth and breadth of these models. In my company, I use Mills Chat on a daily basis. I no longer go to our champions website to look for data. I use Mills Chat to look for data. And, as we speak, we're deploying a new tech foundation that will bring a lot more context to our end users. As they engage Mills Chat, they will be able to answer questions that are more specific to their functional areas, because we are now enhancing that foundation with the specific data from General Mills. And so I'm a big proponent of it. I'm a big user of it. And I believe that we as leaders need to champion the use of new technology. And the best way to champion that is to actually use it yourself and not learn from others about, the value or the impact of these technologies. Mm-hmm.
At the end of our episodes, we like to do what we call a lightning round, which I know is not very innovative, but just looking for you're kind of like one tweet takes, two questions that are a little hard to answer kind of in the one tweet format. Maybe Saam, you can kick us off.
Awesome. So maybe to start, how should companies measure the success of a CTO in this AI era?
That's a phenomenal question. Every time I talk to my team, I make sure they understand that everything we do in this company is about generating value for our company. Okay. And so in my case, we use, we are on a journey to move to a product platform organization. So every product team that we have set up and every platform team that we have set up in the organization, we have taken the time to define the value proposition of that team. In some cases, the value proposition is just about keeping the business running or enabling the business to operate day in and day out. So we set that very clear. But in most of the cases, the value proposition is about driving efficiency, improving time to market, reducing cost, growing the top line. And what I've done is that I partner with my CFO for them to be the ones that keep the score. So they keep the score for every investment that we make in our organization. So I firmly believe that technology investments are in this day and age are great contributors to value creation in corporations. And you need to have a good way to measure that value. And you have to have a good, transparent way to be able to make better decisions based on that value proposition.
What would be kind of your advice to technology leaders who are trying to maybe learn more and keep up with the AI trends, especially in a world where there's new novel innovations and inventions every week? How do you stay on top?
My first recommendation is stay focused on the value opportunity. So if you're clear on what you're trying to achieve, then you can get that thing done. As a tech leader, you need to be the best user of technology. So get involved, touch the technology, use it, as much as you can. And then be humble. In my case, what we do is we have these tech summits on a yearly basis. We take time, a lot of time, to go and visit with, tech innovators. First, we lean on our tech partners. that we have in the company. We have a handful of tech partners that we respect, that we work very closely with. So we spend a lot of time with them. Then we go and visit with VCs, and we're always in the search for the next big thing. And when I go there, I don't go by myself. I bring my business partners with me. Obviously, I don't bring them all at the same time. So I try to make these tech summits a lot more focused. I do tech summits for the marketing space, or tech summits for supply chain, or tech summits for commercial. And so by piecemealing the effort, we're able to cover a lot. And by doing it together with the business, then you can have you get a lot more benefit, because when you walk out of those conversations, it is always crystal clear that we need to continue evolving our capabilities. And we are usually very clear as to what would be the next step, for us to continue evolving these capabilities. And so you don't have to come back and, convince anybody that we need to change or evolve or transform. We always come back, and the problem is, okay, how do we get that done?
Jaime, maybe switching gears to the more personal side, what's a book you've read recently that's had a big impact on you, and why?
Well, I just read a book named Wired from Eric Lamar. He's an ex-partner from McKinsey. He's closely affiliated with MIT. And I love that book, because we have actually implemented a lot of that book here at General Mills. Why do I like it? Because it talks about digital transformation. And the big thing about digital transformation is that successful digital transformation is nuanced. So it's not just about the tech. It's not just about the talent. It's not just about the ways of working or your operating model. It's all of those things. And what I like about that book is that it gives you a very good set of tools, to think about digital transformation and how to enable a successful program to transform your business.
What's an upcoming technology that you're just personally most excited about?
I think we're still in early stages in the evolution of cloud computing. Edge computing is one area of focus for us. As a large corporation that wants to digitize every aspect of our business, edge computing is something that is very interesting to us, because we do want to not only capture more data, we want to mine the data, and we want to do it in a cost-effective way. So edge computing is an area of focus for us, and I think that's an area that will continue providing benefits down the road for us.
What do you believe about AI and its future impact that you think will be true, that like most people listening would say is science fiction?
I think you'll be talking to your computer, talking to your phone very quickly, and you'll be able to get things done. Using your voice, as it is being done in many different places already. I think this is coming really fast and hard at us, and it's going to be a challenge, for us, because if you don't have a clean data foundation, if you don't know how, what type of decisions these new agents are going to be recommending, it's going to be hard for you to make good use of that technology.
What would be your advice to up and coming technology leaders, right? What inspires you? What motivates you? What would you kind of pass on to the next generation?
Well, I would say that, you need to be very humble. Things are changing really, really fast, and don't assume that you know it all, or that you have to know it all. I think it's really important as a leader to surround yourself with people that can help you fill in the gaps, and or can help you activate on your ideas and strategies. So I would say, be humble, be curious, make sure you surround yourself with the right talent, and collaborate. Teamwork is paramount to driving transformation. I don't want to use the word partnership, because partnership is an overused word in our industry. Teamwork. work collaboratively with your teammates in whatever level you are, because that is the one that will make the most difference, provided you have the talent and the rest.
Jaime, thank you so much for taking time. I really just personally enjoyed the conversation. I got my own set of notes, and I'm feeling just like a little more inspired coming out of this conversation. So I appreciate you making the time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Evan. I really appreciate you guys inviting me to join this amazing podcast. Evan and Sam, I really appreciate everything.
Yeah, echo Evan. This was an amazing episode, and we're excited to get it out to our listeners. Thanks, Jaime.
Thank you.
That was Jaime Montemayor, Chief Digital and Technology Officer at General Mills.
Thanks for listening to Enterprise AI Innovators. I'm Saam Motamedi, a general partner at Greylock Partners.
And I'm Evan Reiser, the founder and CEO of Abnormal AI. Please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Learn more about enterprise AI transformation at enterprisesoftware.blog.
This show is produced by Josh Meir. See you next time.